As I finished my studies in 2022, I found myself in a state of limbo, waiting for my exam results to determine my next step in life. To pass the time and gain some valuable experience, I decided to take up a job at a warehouse. The daily commute took me about an hour from my house, but I didn't mind. I was eager to get my hands dirty and learn the ins and outs of the logistics industry. My studies had focused on the logistical side of things, and I was excited to apply my knowledge of supply chain management, inventory control, and transportation management to a real-world setting. As a warehouse worker, my tasks included receiving and processing shipments, managing stock levels, and coordinating with the transportation team to ensure timely deliveries. I worked closely with the warehouse management system, using software to track inventory and optimize storage space. My shift work schedule was varied, with mornings spent receiving and sorting shipments, evenings spent packing and loading cargo, and nights spent conducting inventory audits and preparing for the next day's operations. I'd ride my motorbike to work, the wind in my hair, and the thrill of the open road giving me a sense of freedom before a long day of work ahead. Little did I know, this job would be the start of a journey that would take me down a dark and unexpected path. As I finished my shift, my colleague approached me with a weary expression, having just completed a grueling double shift. He asked if I could drop him off at his house, and I agreed, happy to help out a fellow worker. As we set off on the journey, I realized that I had never been to his neighborhood before, and the roads were unfamiliar to me. I asked him for directions, and he guided me through the winding streets, pointing out landmarks and warning me about potholes and construction zones. We chatted casually as we rode, the empty roads and quiet atmosphere making it feel like we were the only two people in the world. As we approached his house, I asked him for directions back to my own place, but he warned me that it wasn't a straightforward route. He tried to explain the way, using landmarks like the old clock tower and the abandoned gas station, but I found myself getting more and more confused. Just as I was starting to feel frustrated, he offered to show me a shortcut, a secret route that only locals knew about. He pointed out a series of landmarks, including a crumbling building and a road that was still under construction, and told me to follow the signs. I set off, feeling a bit uncertain, but determined to find my way home. As I rode, the scenery around me grew increasingly desolate, the buildings becoming more run down, and the streets more deserted. I began to feel a sense of unease, as if I was being watched by unseen eyes. The road signs seemed to loom over me, their arrows and warnings taking on a sinister tone. I quickened my pace, my heart beating just a bit faster, as I wondered if I had made a mistake by taking this shortcut. As I rode my bike through the dark night, the only sound being the hum of the engine and the wind rushing past my face, I felt a sense of unease growing inside me. The road was deserted, with only a few streetlights to illuminate the way, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Suddenly, I saw a burger shop up ahead, and my heart skipped a beat as I noticed a group of people staring at me from inside. Their faces were twisted in a mixture of anger and curiosity, and I felt a surge of fear as I wondered if they might be trouble. I accelerated my bike, trying to get past them as quickly as possible, but as I did, some of the people in the shop started screaming and shouting. I thought they were calling out for a fight, and my heart racing, I pushed my bike to go even faster. I took a sharp turn onto a small hillside road, the darkness seeming to close in around me like a suffocating shroud. The road was narrow and winding, with no street lights to speak of, and I had to rely on my bike's weak headlight to navigate the twists and turns. I was alone, with no sign of life anywhere, and I started to feel a sense of disorientation and fear. As I rode, I caught sight of a shopping complex in the distance, but I knew it was too far away, and that I must have taken a wrong turn. I slowed down, preparing to make a U-turn, but as I did, my bike suddenly sputtered and died. I was stranded, alone and helpless, in the middle of nowhere. I felt a wave of anger and frustration wash over me, wondering why I had been so foolish as to take this shortcut. I lit a cigarette, trying to calm my nerves, but as I stood there, surrounded by the darkness, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched and that something was waiting for me just out of sight. As I rode my bike, I noticed a white light approaching me in my side mirror. At first, I thought it was just a bug with a glowing abdomen, but as it drew closer, I realized with a jolt of terror that it was something far more sinister. The light grew brighter, and I saw that it was a head, a disembodied head with no body, floating towards me with an unblinking gaze. My heart racing, I tried to start my bike, but it refused to budge. Panic set in as I frantically tried to kickstart the engine, but it was dead. The head drew closer, its presence filling me with an unspeakable horror. I was paralyzed with fear, unable to move or look away. But then I remembered the hill and how the bike had started when I rolled down it earlier. With a surge of adrenaline, I pushed the bike down the hill, and to my relief, it roared back to life. But my relief was short-lived, as the head reappeared in front of me, its white scarf glowing in the darkness. I couldn't see its face, but I could sense its malevolent presence, and I knew I had to get away. I prayed to God, begging for protection as I sped down the hill, my bike weaving wildly as I tried to escape the head's relentless pursuit. I was crying, my body shaking with fear as I careened through the darkness, the head always just out of reach. But no matter how fast I went, it kept coming, its presence haunting me like a specter. Just when I thought I was going to collapse from fear, I saw the burger shop up ahead, its lights a beacon of hope in the darkness. And then, a car pulled up, its high beams illuminating the road, and the head vanished into thin air. I was left shaken, my heart still racing, as I pulled into the shop's parking lot, grateful to have escaped the clutches of the monstrous head. But as I looked back, I couldn't shake the feeling that it was still out there, waiting for me, its unblinking gaze fixed on me like a curse. The group of people in the burger shop started to scream at me. "Why did you use that road? We already warned you not to use it. See what happens now?" I just shook my head, still trying to process what had just happened, and rode my bike away, desperate to find my way back home. Finally, I reached my house, exhausted and shaken. I told my mother everything, and we prayed together before going to sleep, seeking comfort and protection from the horrors I had faced. But the incident had taken a toll on my body, and I woke up the next morning with a fever. I took 2 days off work to recover, but the memory of the headless ghost haunted me, refusing to let me rest. When I returned to work, I sought out the colleague who had given me the directions that fateful night. I was angry and scared, and I demanded to know why he had sent me down that road. But to my surprise, he just shook his head and said, "I showed you the correct road. I don't know what happened." Another colleague chimed in, "Why did you choose to use that road? Didn't you read the newspaper? Last month, a body was found on that hillside road, a body without a head. The police never found the head, and now it seems that the head is haunting the road." I was stunned, realizing that the head I had seen was likely the ghost of the murdered person. I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized that I had narrowly escaped a terrible fate. The experience had left me shaken, but it had also taught me a valuable lesson: to always be careful and aware of my surroundings, and to never ignore the warnings of others. From that day on, I made sure to always take the safe route and to never stray into the unknown. The memory of the headless ghost would stay with me forever, a reminder of the horrors that lurk in the darkness, waiting to pounce on the unsuspecting. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching this terrifying tale. If you've had any experiences like this, please share them with us in the comments below. We'd love to hear about them and learn from your experiences. And if you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel. It would mean a lot to us, and it would help us to continue sharing more chilling stories and experiences with you. So, if you're feeling brave, hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-tingling content. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you can stay up to date with our latest videos. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.